This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Well, you got me so upset with the way your skin moves, stay dressed. Burn a picture in my head, smoke it when I need to forget. How could I keep this composure, hit like a boulder? How could I get out of here before I say it? I say it. I swear I could fall in love just sipping on this vision of you living. I swear one more second.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. And another yes. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Tuesday. No, seriously, it's Tuesday, April the 21st of 2026. Hopefully you are standing in the vertical direction. Yeah, not horizontal. In the vertical direction after yesterday, being 420. So we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio.
Oh, yes, hanging out on Radio Big and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do inside of the interweb. So there you go. How's it been for you? Seriously, how has the last 24 been? Always a good time as we are hanging out. Somebody told me that we should talk about this. Should we do this? Do it.
Well, you made it to Tuesday, the day that's basically Monday, wearing a fake mustache.
Okay, so I guess it is Monday wearing a fake mustache, but don't worry about that. We'll get through all the stuff today because that's just kind of what we do inside of the interworkings. So let's talk about this real quick. If you are new here, let's explain it real quick. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of what we do around here. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and then go down the interwebs of things that are happening inside of the world. So if you're good with this, what we'll do is we'll hang out today and do all kinds of fun stuff. We will talk about safety in the news and safety. I bring in some professional broadcasters as they talk about what the hell's going on in the world in real time. I give you a level of a main story during the middle section somewhere around there about what the hell's on my mind. So we'll bitch about some of the things that are going on there. And then outside of that, well, that's it. And by the way, if you've been here before, I really do appreciate you coming back and taking a listen to what the hell's going on. So I have to tell you, we are doing some changes around here. So we'll get into a little bit about that as we are going inside of the interwebs of the station. So a lot of stuff, a lot of changes, a lot of things going on. We are trying to get into some more curated stuff, but we'll get into that a little bit later down the road with all the fun stuff. So if you're good with this, let's talk. If you want to get involved with what we have going on, go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options, and then you'll go in there and everything will change for you. Why do I say that? Because you have audio, video, and text messaging are the options, and then I get a prompt, and then we change how the show's going depending on what the hell you write, or text, or video, or audio, or whatever the hell you want to do, because that's what we do. So, with that being said, inside of the interwebos, we will start talking right away about everything that is going on. So, here we go. Why don't I do this? Why don't I go ahead and bring in my friends from Feature Story News, let them tell us about what the hell is going on inside of the world, because they're going to give us the latest news stories as we are doing this show, and we'll get into it there. So if you're good with it, I'm good with it.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. Chinese President Xi Jinping has called for the opening of the Strait of Hormuz for the first time since the closure of the critical waterway.
According to the official readout, Chinese President Xi Jinping called for an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire and that he supports efforts to restoring peace. President Xi also called for normal traffic through the Strait of Hormuz as this serves the common interests of regional countries and the international community. In the phone call with President Xi Jinping, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman says that Saudi Arabia is ready to strengthen communication with China and work together to find a pathway to lasting peace and stability in the region. Last week, the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez called on Beijing to play a bigger role in resolving conflicts, including in Iran. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
Tim Cook is stepping down as the CEO of Apple, ending a 15-year run at the top of one of the most successful tech companies in the world. He will be replaced by John Ternus, the Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering. Tony Waterman has more.
Tim Cook has played a pivotal role in Apple's expansion, not only into new technology like the smartwatch and AirPods, but as a company. Apple's market capitalization is now around $4 trillion. In a statement, Cook said being the CEO of Apple has been the greatest privilege of his life. He will hand the reins over to Ternus on September 1st, but he's not entirely disappearing. He'll become the executive chairman of Apple's board of directors. Cook took over the post of CEO from legendary Apple co-founder Steve Jobs in 2011. Tony Waterman, Washington.
The Trump administration has begun accepting applications from businesses seeking refunds for tariffs that the Supreme Court later struck down as illegal. The digital claims system is the first step in paying back $166 billion in tariffs months after justices ruled President Trump was overstepping his constitutional powers. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
The Customs and Border Protection Agency said in court filings that over 330,000 importers paid a total of around $166 billion on more than 53 million shipments. It said the online portal could handle around 63% of affected import filings, with the remainder to follow. Companies must list the goods on which tariffs were levied and, if approved, it will take 60 to 90 days for a refund to be issued. Some US importers put up prices for consumers to mitigate the impact, but companies are not legally obligated to provide refunds to customers, though some, including FedEx, have said they will. Kate Fisher, Washington.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the prospects for an end to the conflict in Iran seem to be paved with bumps in the road, with the Iranians now saying they won't agree to more negotiations unless the US naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is lifted. Professor Anthony Glees is an intelligence and security expert at the University of Buckingham in the UK and says Iran thinks it's got Donald Trump's number.
I think in the propaganda war, and that's an important part of the war, I think there's no doubt that Iran is on top. The situation is frankly chaotic. These are people who are fighting fanatically for an ideological cause. If they don't have any bombs and drones left, they will fight the war with knives and daggers. If you destroy all their buildings, they will fight from the caves, as Osama bin Laden did. Different kind of jihadists, but the same idea. A very dangerous game of chicken is being played between Iran and the United States. But I think the Iranians, the Revolutionary Guard and the Ayatollahs, they have read Donald Trump correctly, they know that he needs a quick resolution to this war far more urgently than they needed.
And the ceasefire between the US and Iran is due to expire on Wednesday. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
FSN is an independent source of news for TV, radio and digital networks worldwide. You can find more of our minute-by-minute updates on Twitter. Follow us there at Feature Story. And we have a wealth of audio and video stories from our global news bureaus on Facebook. You can find us there by following Feature Story News. Stay tuned for further updates right here, but for now, that is the latest Feature Story News. Ishan Garg reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open-source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. It's all about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, it's risky business. It's definitely not my business. So there you go. Let's talk real quick about some things that are going on inside of the world of the interwebs, because that is kind of what we do around here. Just a little bit to talk about. Let's should we get serious? Should we kind of goof off a little bit, or what do we think? Let's start off with this one. Let's go from there. Papa John's is catching some heat online after a viral Tic Tac blasted the chain for what many see as a guilt trip printed right on the pizza boxes. The messages reads, "Delivery fee is not a tip. Please reward the driver for outstanding service." What was meant to be as a friendly reminder instead of struck a nerve. Critics say that it feels like a tone death in a moment when tipping fatigue is at all-time high. And when many believe companies should pay workers more instead of nudging the customers to fill the gap. The backlash exploded after TikTok user Sydney _ posted a video that pulled 1.6 million views, arguing that the tips aren't paychecks and calling out companies for relying on customers to subsidize wages. Commenters piled on, calling the box message crazy and noting that Papa John's silence in the comments unusual for a major brand on TikTok. The debate quickly spread to X, where one user said tipping in the U.S. become unacceptable. Or inescapable as well, pointing out that pizza drivers often rely on tips for 25 to 50% of their take-home pay, a system many say is unsustainable. So what do you think here? What do you think about the whole tipping thing? I mean, seriously, and then you print some shit like this on a box. And let's be realistic, because I know we're not supposed to talk about some of this stuff, but this is not the first time that Papa John's has caught some heat about some of the shit that they've done. And listen, if you like their pizza, not a problem. Now, no one's complaining about their pizza. But at what point do we start taking a look at some of the stuff that's going on? Like, I think it's always funny when you go to a restaurant, specifically not the one where the people that work there come to the table, but you're ordering at the counter, and they say, "Oh, hold on," and they flip the machine. "I have a few questions for you." Just say you're asking for a fucking tip. I mean, I don't understand this. What do you mean? What questions are you asking? What if I tell you I can't read? If I say that, are you going to tell me then what exactly you're about to ask me? I'm just asking, because it gets weird. It gets weird right away. So let's talk some more here, because I think that we need to do this. So if we're going to talk about that, maybe we should talk about this. Should we talk about this? Or should we move to something else? Maybe we should be a little bit more serious. Maybe we should be a little bit more serious now. We'll get into some serious stuff and then we'll goof off, because that's what we do. No, seriously. Kash Patel has officially launched a $250 million defamation lawsuit against the Atlantic and the reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick. The suit is filed in federal court in Washington, D.C., accuses the magazine of publishing a malicious article portraying him as a heavy drinker whose behavior allegedly raised concerns among colleagues. The original story, headlined by Kash Patel's erratic behavior, could cost him his job, cited unnamed sources who claimed Patel was frequently visibly intoxicated at private clubs in Washington and Las Vegas, at times unreachable, being behind locked doors, allegedly prompting a request for specialized breaching equipment. Patel's 19-page complaint says that those claims, along with 16 other statements in the article, are false and were published with actual malice. His team says they warned the outlet that the allegations were categorically false, but the story ran anyways. Patel stated that the Atlantic story is a lie and argued that the reporting damaged his reputation. The Atlantic responded that it stands by its reporting and plans to vigorously defend the magazine and its journalists, calling the lawsuit meritless. The case now moves forward to federal court. So hold on. Let me just ask the question. You're going to take this case to federal court where the guy kind of has a level of play. I'm just asking because this is the plan. And let me kind of backtrack here. Let's see. It says his team says that they warned the outlet that the allegations were categorically false. So not true about what is going on. Now, and then what did it say? Categorically false, blah, blah. The Atlantic story is a lie, damaging his reputation. Now, I don't remember everything because I'm terrible with certain things and remembering them. But didn't he sit on the Hill when they were trying to ask him some questions, and there was not some things there that were brought into great lights in regards of some of the stuff that was talked about? I mean, I'm just asking the question unless I'm losing my fucking mind in regards of what we're talking about here. But man, what an interesting time. It's just the weirdest thing. Now, I don't know. I have not read this article, and I'm not justifying anything that anyone says because I just don't do that. But how weird is this? That this is what we've gotten to. So now you don't like what I wrote, so we're going to sue you. And then there's, should we be a little bit more concerned about some other things? And how did it damage his rep? I'm just asking because I would just want to have a better understanding because I never know anything. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking because I woke up to this article this morning, even though I should have probably read it yesterday. Kind of in shock, but we kind of already knew that this is where this was going because there's been some hints that this is where it was heading, and I think it's a big duh moment. Duh. But Apple is heading into the first major leadership change since Steve's Jobs era. The company announced that Tim Cook will step down as CEO on September the 1st, transitioning into a role of executive chairman, while John Ternus, Apple's senior vice president of hardware engineering, will take over as the new CEO. Cook will remain CEO through the summer to ensure the smooth handoff. Let's see. John will also join the Apple board of directors when he assumes the role. The longtime board member Arthur Levinson will become the lead independent director. Cook reflected on the transition, calling his time as CEO the greatest privilege of my life and praising Apple's team for their innovation and dedication under Cook's leadership. Apple's market cap grew from 24-fold, reaching about $4 trillion as of yesterday. So let's talk about that real quick. So we have seen since the Steve Jobs era, has Tim Cook has led Apple to what's going on now. And listen, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of stuff that has changed there in regards of culture, in regards of how people see Apple, in regards of how the company works itself. And listen, I will admit here that I am to some extent an Apple fanboy and have been for years. But I am curious as this change goes into place, how this is going to work. Because I believe that we're not going to get this until right around that time. We will probably get the new Apple iPhones right around then, meaning in September. And as that occurs, you shall see Siri changing inside of the Apple ecosystem because now they're going to allow it to have some other tie-ins to other artificial intelligence. Now, they did say at one point that one of the main drivers behind it would be them using some of the base of Gemini, which is a Google product inside of there. And then there's been rumors, because this is only rumors at this point, that you might be able to pick Siri to be powered by whatever the hell you want, AI-wise. So it's going to be an interesting time, and it's going to be an interesting transition. So we'll see what exactly happens. I mean, we still got some time here, let's just not lie. It is April 21st at the moment. I mean, I'm sure some people woke up reading that thinking that they were still high from yesterday. Not sure what exactly was going on. Okay, so let's talk about this because we need to understand some more stuff. Michigan top election officials are rejecting the Justice Department request for all ballots and election materials from Wayne County's 2024 federal election, calling it the demand baseless and a threat to voters' rights. The DOJ says the investigation potentially violates the federal election laws tied to the past fraud allegations. The request targets, yes, I did say targets, Wayne County, a heavily Democrat area, includes Detroit, and seeks the ballots, ballot envelopes, and ballot receipts from the 2024 election. Michigan officials, including Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Attorney General Dana Nessel, and Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, issued a joint statement pushing back, saying that Michigan's elections are secure and that questioning them undermines the residents' constitutional rights to vote. The dispute adds to the ongoing tensions between state officials and federal investigators over how the past election related claims should be handled. Michigan leaders say that they will not comply with what the views as they overreach, while the DOJ maintains that it is pursuing legitimate inquiries. So there you go. So what do you think? Some interesting times for sure. Okay. You are aware that we train this thing that we talk about a lot inside of the world that we call run, hide, fight. And this is that if you have an active shooter, this is some things that you should investigate into. So you should first run. If running doesn't work, then you should hide. And if hiding doesn't work, then you fight. And there was videos about this. We've talked about this for some time. I have to tell you, I remember sending out some videos about that stuff. And some people were what we call triggered about it. But it's one of those things that we have to have this information to discuss and all that kind of fun stuff, because this is a reality of what occurs. So with that being said, I want to talk about this story that happened yesterday near University of Iowa campus. 5 people were wounded early Sunday in a shooting near the University of Iowa campus. Iowa City police officers were already responding to a large fight around 1:46 a.m. That's very precise, in the downtown area when they heard gunfire nearby. Multiple victims were found and taken to a local hospitals. One of the critical conditions, the other 4 listed as stable. The University of Iowa Bard Wilson confirmed that 3 of the victims are students, saying that the school is in close contact with the investigators and are offering support to those affected. Police released the image of the 5 males identified as persons of interest and are asking the public to help identify them. Authorities say that there is no known ongoing threat tied to the incident. So what do you think here? It gets very interesting when we start talking about guns, gods, and government. No, seriously. Do you love your guns? Do you love your gods? And do you love your government? You tie those things together and you don't know what kind of clusterfuck you're going to get out of the whole thing. Let's just be realistic. I'm not lying here. Tell me when I'm telling lies, because that's the funny part about the whole thing. When you start talking about those things, people start getting kind of weird right away. It's like, why are you bringing this up? I'm just saying. So there you go. Keeping it inside of the school area, let's talk about this one real quick, because, man, this got interesting quick. A group of Kansas City high school students showed up to a prom in the most unforgettable ride of the year, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. It all started when a junior, Brecken Andrews, and his friend spotted the giant hot dog on wheels outside of a grocery store after grabbing Sonic. One of the friends joked about renting it, and Brecken took it to a step further. Why not just ask if they'd take us to the prom? So they approached the Wienermobile hot dogger driver, Maggie Dawson, who loved the idea. She checked the schedule and said yes. The crew arranged the whole thing for free. On prom night, the students rolled up on a 27-foot pure process meat glory. As one student said, people take limos. This is basically the big hot dog limo. So there you go. Prom rule number 1, arrive in style. Prom rule number 2, preferably not grilled. So there you go. What do you think? Somewhere, a limo driver is crying into his tiny, tiny, tiny steering wheel as we are talking. So what do you think here? So there you go. There you go. So I will tell you, and I'm not going to lie here, and don't get me started with this. I am not the biggest fan of baseball. I think it is the game of anticipation, and you're anticipating for a long period of time before anything happens. Now, I say this. Now, take a listen to this one. A college baseball game between the University of St. Thomas and Northern Colorado turned into chaos after stretching across 21 innings and more than 24 hours, only to end on one of the most anticlimactic plays in baseball, a walk-off balk. The game originally began on Friday afternoon in St. Paul, Minnesota, with St. Thomas acting as the road team in their own stadium. It was a makeup game postponed earlier in the season due to wildfire smoke in Colorado. After 10 innings, the Darkness forced a suspension, which score was tied at 5-5. Play resumed on Saturday afternoon, and neither team scored again until the 19th inning, when both squads put up 2 runs to tie at 7-7. It played that way until the bottom of the 21st, when, with the bases loaded, 2 outs and a count of 2-2, the umpire called a balk. And St. Thomas pitcher Nolan Kemp, game over. The Marathon tied the 8th longest game division in history, featuring 9 pitchers, 33 strikeouts, 27 walks, and a ridiculous 712 total pitches. Darkness and weather delays messed up the rest of the series, too. Another game had to be suspended after 8 innings on Sunday. Game went 10 innings, and the 4th game never even got started. Northern Colorado improved to 8-29 with the win. St. Thomas dropped 6-24 and probably needed a nap. Imagine playing a full day just to lose because someone twitched wrong. So there you go. What a crazy time there. I mean, imagine that. I'm not a huge fan. And that's just me. And listen, I understand that not everything out there is for me. That's okay. Some people have such a hard time with that. I never understand that. It's like, listen, there's shit out there that is produced, manufactured, and all that, and it might not be for you, and it's okay. Those things are okay. So, yeah, life goes on, dear John, and we just kind of move from there. So, would you enjoy that length of a game? I'm just asking.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so I think we're close enough for government work in regards to what we need to do next. So let's go ahead and do that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so we talk about main story time all the time here in regards of what's going on as we are coming across the multiverse of things. We are on safetyfm.com. We are on radiobig.fm. We're also on safety.fm, but we'll leave that for another story. We're also on the virtuals. We are on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, you name it, we're there, blah, 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 blah. But it's time for the main story. And today we're going to pick up exactly where we left off on the last episode, in episode 1336. And that's not a joke as I say that. We talked about toxic rainmakers. We talked about how protecting one untouchable employee just because they're the revenue matrix, it is the ultimate example of conduct that is detrimental to the team. We talked about the amputation of the individual infection. But what happens when the cancer isn't just one guy or one gal? What happens when the toxicity metastasizes into an entire group? But what happens when the cancer isn't just that one person? Today, we need to talk about the corporate cartels. We need to talk about the cliques. We need to talk about the faction. We need to talk about the tribalism that infects the workplace. And we like to put on our PPE, strap on the hard hats, lace up the steel-toe boots, and pretend that we are logical, data-driven, professional adults operating in a complex system. But let me give you the rated R truth here. Walk onto the floor of almost any manufacturing plant, construction site, or corporate office in the world, and you are not looking at a professional environment. Let me say that again. You are not looking at a professional environment. You are looking at a junior high school cafeteria. You have the cliques, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's operations versus maintenance. It's the day shift versus the night shift. It's the old guard who has been there for 20 years versus the new guys who just got out of orientation. It is the salaried versus the hourly, corporate versus the field. These aren't just departments, they are tribes, and they defend their individual borders with a level of pettiness that is absolutely fucking mind-blowing. And let me paint the picture for you, because I know every single one of you have seen this happen, and you are standing in the break room, or you're out by the tool crib, and you belong to Group A, and you look over and you see the guy from Group B, and maybe he's the night shift supervisor or a guy from the maintenance cartel. You walk over to him, you strike up a casual conversation, you ask about his weekend, you talk about the game last night, and maybe you just ask him a simple question about a work order, just basic normal human interaction. Then you walk back to your group. And then the question, what happens? Your group looks at you like you just committed high treason. They lose their absolute shit there. They pull you aside and start whispering, what the hell are you doing talking to him or her? You know you don't associate with them. He or she is one of those assholes from maintenance. They're always trying to screw us over. I want you to take a massive step back and look at the sheer unadulterated absurdity of the moment. You have a 45-year-old man or woman, people with mortgages, 401ks, and lower back pains acting like seventh graders, mean girls, because somebody sat at the wrong lunch table. It's embarrassing. But this isn't a show about HR complaints. And it isn't about alphas etiquette. This is the Rated R Safety Show. So why do I care if people form a little exclusive clubs? We care because corporate cliques murder the signal. Safety in a complex, high-entropy environment relies on one thing above all other: the free, unrestricted, kinetic flow of information. When you have cartels in your facility, information gets weaponized. It gets hoarded. It gets gated. If operation hates maintenance and operators hear the weird vibration coming out of the high pressure pump, do they go ahead and report it right away? Duh. Do they walk over to the maintenance guy and have the conversation? Hell no. They say, screw it. Let it break. Let maintenance deal with it on the weekend. And maybe they'll finally have to go to do some work for a living. If the day shift hates the night shift, they will not leave the detailed pass down log. They will intentionally leave a trap. They will let the night shift walk blind into the mess just to prove the point and make others' tribes look incompetent in front of the plant manager. So how can you possibly have psychological safety when your workplace is carved up into a hostile territory? Well, let's just be realistic. You can't. If you are terrified that your own clique will excommunicate you for sharing a safety concern with a rival group, the hazard grows in the dark. The system rots from the inside out. People will literally let their coworkers get hurt because of tribal loyalty overrides basic human decency. Just like the toxic rainmaker, this tribalism is conduct that's detrimental to the team, but on a massive systemic scale. So why does this happen? Why do we allow the Black Iron Prison to be sectioned off into gang territory? It happens because of weak leadership. And let me say that one more time. It happens because of weak leadership. Weak managers let the cafeteria rule the building. They see the division, they hear the petty bickering, and they just turn a blind eye and say, well, that's just the culture here. Ops and maintenance have always hated each other. And let me tell you the dirty little secret about the corporate matrix. Some toxic managers actually love the cliques. They intentionally fuel the drama. Why? Because if the floor is busy fighting with each other, if the day shift is at war with the night shift, they aren't looking up at management. They aren't uniting to demand better tools, safer conditions, or competent leadership. Divide and conquer is the oldest trick in the book, and weak leaders use this to maintain the illusion of control. So how do we fix this? How do you break the corporate cartels? If you are a safety professional or a frontline leader, you have to be, sometimes look at some of the weird things that happen. You have to actively and intentionally refuse to play the junior high game. You must deploy the Jeet Kune Do and strip away the useless tribalism. Duh. You have to become the border crosser. You have to see the invisible line on the floor, and you have to step over it. You intentionally go sit with the rival group in the break room. When your clique starts whispering and getting mad, you look at them dead in the eye and you say, grow up. I would say grow the fuck up, but that's what I would say. We all punch the same clock. We all bleed the exact same color when the machine bites. You force the cross-functional collaboration. You pull the Alpha Group A and the Alpha Group B together and put them in the same room, and you give them the shared problem to solve. You smash the silos by making it painful, undeniably clear that there is only one team in this facility, and you tell them, if you withhold safety information because you don't like the guy on the other shift or the girl on the other shift, you aren't just being petty. You are a systemic hazard, and you will need to be removed. You cannot allow adults to act like children when lives are on the line. And if you let cliques run the culture, you are guaranteed to miss the weak signal. And the truth does not respect your little social clubs. A 480-volt arc flash doesn't care if you're day shift or night shift. A falling hydraulic line doesn't care if you sit in this cool kid table. Gravity doesn't give a damn about your cartel. Look around your facility this week. Identify the cartels. Identify the invisible lines that are drawn on the floor. And then walk right across them. Stop playing that high school game in life or death environment and break the cliques and carry the signal and force the teams to actually be a team. Seriously. If you keep your head on the swivel, don't let the cafeteria politics blind you to the reality of what the hell is going on to the floor. Because I'm going to tell you, if you act like a little kid and you do little kid shit, when somebody gets hurt, it's not a little kid environment that ends up taking place. It's something that will influence the system forever. And listen, this toxicity needs to go away.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Our station is so big that you don't have to do much to make it work for you. Radio Big.
Burn a picture in my head. Smoke it when I need to forget. How could I keep this composure? Hit like a boulder. How could I get out of here?
Okay. Currently 45 minutes past the hour. Yeah, 45 minutes into it. I always think it's amazing how people get so upset about how the passion drives. La pasión. In regards to some of the stuff that I talk about, it's okay, baby. I look at it from the standpoint like this. Cultural change is important inside of the organization. And I hate bullshit drama. Okay, so let's talk about this.
1, 2, 3, love.
This right here, this is Out Bloom. This song's called I Swear. I swear a lot too, but we'll leave that for a different story. Song's readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. And we talk about this all the time. Yeah, I swear. We would like to thank Alt Bloom for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Always a good time when we get to do some new music and bring it your general direction. No doubt about that. Yep, so let's go ahead and get into the move and the groove of the things that are going on inside of the world here. And let me tell you about this, because this might be the most important thing that I ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends to write love on our arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, all kinds of information for you related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. Once you get there, go all the way to the far right-hand side of the website and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, it can change everything for you. I always tell people, you never know if this information might be something that you need or someone you know might need, and it can change everything. I'm being dead serious as I say this. Because listen, sometimes things in life do not go perfect. They do not go great. So, if we can do this, TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this one, because I think it's going to be importante to talk about. So let's go ahead and go over here and talk about this. July the 13th, not that far away if you really give it some consideration. Here in Orlando, Florida, we'll be doing a little evento taking place. We're calling it the Reality Shift Observational Symposium. We're doing this in Orlando Monday, July the 13th. We're taking over a portion of a theater, and we're going to be doing something slightly different. We're going to have Nick Weatherly there talking about behavior-based safety. We'll have Todd Conklin there talking about human and organizational performance. I will be there talking about Signal. We'll watch a little documentary while we're there inside of the movie theater and hang out and talk about how these things synthesize with each other, and not just, hey, let's have another conversation about HOP versus BBS. Seriously, we're going to do some serious stuff and talk about some things that are going on. So if you go to safetyfm.com, you can click on the section that says live events right now to get more information about this. Or you can scan the QR code that's right there on the screen, or you can go to safetyfm.io, whichever is easier for you. We would love to see you there. Some people have been asking, why are you doing this on a Monday? Well, we're doing it on a Monday for the following reasons. If you want to come and hang out in Orlando over the weekend, which we would love for you to do, then you can just slide into there on a Monday and do your thing. So there you go. One more time. Nick Weatherly, Todd Conklin, and yours truly hanging out together, talking about how these things blend. So there you go. We'll be doing this at a movie theater. Much different. And I want you to think about this. This is not stadium seating. This is not a premium movie theater experience. This is a movie theater that has chairs and tables for you to be able to do work, take notes as we're going through the process. Seriously, this is not a joke as I say that. So that's all. safetyfm.io for more information. Would love to see you there. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's bring some John Small into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute, because that seems to be something important we need to do right now.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Mary. Peter Thiel said, "Brilliant thinking is rare, but courage is in even shorter supply." What a great quote. Do you know brilliant people? I do. I love to hang out with my super smart friends. There are times it makes me feel smarter, but sometimes it has the exact opposite reaction. I've walked away realizing that I'm not using all of my potential. One of these friends is a builder. Many people have looked at this guy and thought he was just some guy who's doing lowly manual labor. Now, for the record, I've never thought that of anyone. These are my people. But I met this guy when I was about 19. He's a few years older than me. He uses all of his brain somehow. I've watched him develop new methods to do things. I've seen him start new companies and build some of the most amazing things. He is doing exactly what he's meant to be doing. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A gunman carrying an automatic weapon has torn through a busy district of Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, on Saturday, killing 6 people and taking hostages inside a supermarket before police shot him dead.
At least 14 others were wounded and rushed to hospitals across the city. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed the attacker was born in Russia and had a prior criminal record, while Ukraine's security service labeled the rampage an act of terrorism. Chris Anderson reporting.
A wave of tornadoes and powerful winds tore across the upper Midwest on Friday, shredding rooftops, snapping power lines, and leaving rural communities in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and other states buried under debris.
The National Weather Service confirmed at least 20 tornado reports across several states, including an intense EF3 twister that leveled homes in Buffalo County, Wisconsin, and an EF2 near Rochester, Minnesota. Emergency crews went door-to-door checking on residents. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon took hold this week, bringing a pause to weeks of intense fighting that had killed more than 2,000 people and displaced over 1 million Lebanese civilians.
The agreement, brokered by the United States, marked the first direct diplomatic engagement between Israel and Lebanon in decades, with both governments committing to halt offensive operations. Israeli forces, however, said they would remain deployed inside southern Lebanon. Gary Beck reporting.
The House of Representatives narrowly rejected a resolution Thursday that would have required President Trump to pull U.S. forces out of the war with Iran, with the vote failing by a single tally at 213 to 214.
Nearly every Democrat supported the measure, while Republicans largely held firm behind the president's military campaign, which began when the U.S. and Israel struck Iran on February 28th. Democrats warned that a 60-day War Powers Act deadline arrives at the end of April, pressing the administration to lay out a clear strategy and an exit plan. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz again Saturday, reversing a brief reopening of the critical waterway just one day earlier after the United States refused to lift its naval blockade of Iranian ports.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard issued a stark warning to all ships in the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman to remain at anchor, threatening to target any vessel that approaches the strait. Iranian gunboats opened fire on 2 Indian-flagged tankers attempting to pass through, forcing them to turn back. Benjamin Wright reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it as we are 54 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about it real quick. Back in 1972, John Young and Charles Duke explore the moon on the Apollo 16. In 1984, Nightline reverts from 1 hour back to an hour and a half. In 1986, Geraldo Rivera opens Al Capone's vault on TV and finds nada. No, seriously, nada. Also, in 1994, Eddie Murphy sets a record for switch hit home runs in a game. And I said Eddie Murphy, I meant Eddie Murray. Wow, that's different. Also, in 1995, FBI arrests Timothy McVeigh and charge him with the Oklahoma City bombing. In 1997, ashes of Timothy Leary and Gene Roddenberry launch into orbit. So there you go. That's some things that happened back on this date. If we're talking about celebrity birthdays for today, Iggy Pop turned 79, Tony Danza turned 75, Andy McDowell 68, Nicole Sullivan turns 56, and James McAvoy turns 47. Tony Romo, he turns 46 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays going on for you if you were curious about any of that stuff that's going on. So there you go. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is $140 million. Here's last night winning Powerball numbers for $87 million. It was 9, 17, 36, 47, 64, and Powerball was 26, and Power Play was 3. Okay, reminder just in case you did not know this, Mother's Day is coming, and that's happening on May the 10th, so just FYI. Also, viral video show Amazon Prime air drones dropping packages from about 10 feet, smashing items and alarming customers as complaints pile about the crashes and malfunctions, so there you go. Also, tensions escalated. The U.S. forces cease as an Iran ship amid rising conflicts over the Strait, with Trump warning Iran consequences if talks fail. Also, Illinois has suddenly become a severe weather capital of the country. According to new data of NOAA Storm Prediction Center, as of April the 19th, the state has logged 80 tornado reports, nearly double the number of the second place in Mississippi, which is 43. In some other news, Walt Disney World Orlando has revealed ticket prices through October 2027, with one park ticket costing up to $219. Yes, that's $219 per person. The steep price applies to the tickets for the next year's President's Day weekend and marks a new record for Disney ticket prices. So there you go. Okay, so a lot of weirdness going on for sure. Duh. So here's what's going to happen. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. Then hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he's hanging out and talking about the world of safety consulting. Seriously. He'll talk about that here on Safety FM. So there you go. You have options going to Radio Big as I talk about the world of music and entertainment, or you can stay right here on Safety FM and hang out with Sheldon Primus. So there you go as he talks about safety consulting. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, let's do this. A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So there you go. And if you need some words of advice for today, protect your attention like it's money. Every notification, every distraction, every quick check is a withdrawal. Turn off what you can, silence what you don't need, and spend your focus where it actually pays you back. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. So that's going to sum up our time together. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
How could I keep this composure hit like a boulder? How could I get out of here before I say it?